I confessed I slept with his friend. He didn't yell, didn't cry. He just walked out and vanished. A year later, I still remember the way his eyes looked, vacant, almost glassy, like something inside him had just shut down. This all started 8 months ago. We were a regular couple, or at least that's what I believed. My name's Lauren, I'm 28. I was working full-time as a marketing assistant in Denver. Michael, my boyfriend, was 30, a software engineer. We had been together for nearly 3 years, lived in the same apartment for 2 of them. No cheating scandals, no screaming fights, just the kind of quiet, stable love you learn to count on. Until I made the worst mistake of my life. Michael's best friend, Chris, had been around from the beginning. They grew up in the same neighborhood, went to the same college, even got jobs in the same city after graduation. I didn't think much of him at first. He was loud, charming, a bit of a flirt, but harmless. At least I thought he was. It started the night of Michael's company retreat in Aspen. He was supposed to be gone for 3 days. That Friday night, Chris invited me and a few mutual friends out to a bar. I wasn't planning on drinking much, but 1 cocktail turned into 3, then 5. I don't remember all of it clearly, just flashes of loud music, dancing too close, and then the worst part, waking up in Chris's apartment. The moment I opened my eyes, I felt sick. Physically, emotionally. He was still asleep beside me, snoring softly. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something at him, at myself. I just grabbed my jacket and left. 4 weeks, I couldn't look Michael in the eye. I cried in the shower. I lost weight. I thought about telling him almost every day, but then he'd come home smiling, talking about some bug he fixed at work or asking what I wanted for dinner, and I'd just freeze. I hated myself. I started distancing. He noticed. He asked if I was okay, if I still loved him. I lied. I told him I was just stressed with work. He believed me, because that's the kind of man he was. Kind. Trusting. Too trusting. The guilt ate at me. I avoided Chris completely. I deleted his number. But I could feel the truth pressing down on me every second I was around Michael. Finally, after almost 5 weeks, I couldn't take it anymore. I sat him down one night after dinner. He was washing the dishes and humming. I asked him to sit. He looked confused but calm. I told him everything. I expected yelling, rage, maybe tears, something. But he just stared at me. Didn't blink. Didn't frown. Just stared. And then, without a word, he stood up, walked to the bedroom, grabbed his coat and keys and walked out the door. I ran after him, begging, telling him I was sorry, that I loved him, that I made a mistake. He didn't say a word, not even when I screamed his name down the hallway of our apartment building. That was the last time I saw him. I haven't heard from him since. Not a text, not a call, nothing. I still live in that apartment, alone. I check his Instagram sometimes. It's still blank. He never really used social media. Chris moved to another city 3 months later. We haven't spoken since that night. People ask me why I told Michael at all. Why I didn't just keep it buried. But I couldn't live like that. I thought maybe if I was honest, we could fix it. Instead, I broke the only man who ever loved me unconditionally. And now, I live every day wondering, was it better that he left without a word? Or would it have hurt less if he had stayed long enough to say goodbye? Would you have told the truth? Or kept it hidden and lived with the guilt? The days after he left felt unreal. I kept thinking he'd walk back in, maybe with packed bags, or maybe just to talk. But silence settled into the apartment like dust. I didn't sleep for the first 2 nights. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd see his face, blank, pale, quiet. The image of him walking out, shoulders tense but calm, haunted me like a ghost. By the 4th day I knew. He wasn't coming back. His phone went straight to voicemail. I texted him long paragraphs, explaining, begging, apologizing. Nothing delivered. I emailed. No reply. I called his sister in Seattle, who only said, "He's safe, Lauren. But he doesn't want to talk to you." And then she hung up. I think that's when it really hit me. I hadn't just lost my boyfriend. I had lost my person. We were planning to go to Lake Tahoe this winter. We talked about moving to Portland someday. He used to make fun of me for crying during nature documentaries. He used to leave sticky notes on the fridge that said things like, "Your smile is my favorite thing to come home to." He meant all of it. And I threw it away. The worst part, I didn't sleep with Chris because I wanted to be with him. It wasn't even about attraction. It was about the attention, the alcohol, the recklessness, and the moment. But that moment cost me everything. Weeks passed. I went through the motions of work, of life. Ate barely enough. Deleted all my social apps. I even tried therapy, hoping maybe someone could help me understand how I could destroy something so good, so stable, so kind. My therapist asked, "Were you ever scared Michael might leave you before this happened?" I shook my head. No. That's what made it worse. He was always there. By the second month, I found out through a mutual friend that Michael had moved out of state, somewhere in Oregon, that he was working remotely now, alone. I asked, "Is he okay?" My friend just gave me a look and said, "He's surviving. But he's not the same." Neither was I. I know some people reading this might think I deserved it, that I brought it on myself, and honestly I did. I had everything and I shattered it. But guilt doesn't go away just because people tell you you're guilty. It clings. It whispers at 2 a.m. when the bed is cold and the silence is loud. It shows up in the songs you used to play together, the recipes you learned for him, the scent of his cologne on a hoodie you forgot to wash. Sometimes I sit on the floor of our bedroom, my bedroom now, and replay that night in my head. Not the night with Chris. The night I told the truth. I wonder if Michael felt relief, finally knowing why things had fell off. Or if it broke something inside him that can never be repaired. I wonder if he still hates me. Or if I'm just gone to him now. Just a chapter he closed and never plans to reread. But the chapter isn't closed for me. Because just last week, I got a message. It wasn't from Michael. It was from Chris. Would you respond to someone like Chris after what happened? Or would you block him forever? It took me over an hour to even open the message. Just seeing Chris's name pop up gave me this cold feeling in my chest. I hadn't heard from him since that awful morning. The message was short. "I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but I need to talk. Please." That was it. No explanation. No apology. Just that. I didn't reply. I didn't even plan to. But the message kept replaying in my head. For days. I thought maybe he wanted to make things right. Or maybe he just wanted to clear his own conscience. Maybe I needed closure too. So, stupidly I responded. "What do you want, Chris?" He replied almost immediately. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Not just for what happened, but for walking away like it was nothing. You were both my closest people. And I ruined that too." We ended up talking, briefly. Just one phone call. He said he was going through a rough patch at the time, felt invisible in his own life, and that the night we spent together was the biggest regret he'd ever carry. I believed him, but I didn't forgive him. Not really. I asked him if he'd heard from Michael. He paused. Once. A month after everything went down. He just said, "Don't ever contact me again." That was it. That hurt more than it should have. Knowing Michael had the strength to shut both of us out and never look back, it made me realize something. I wasn't the victim. Not even close. I had been selfish. And I deserve a silence. That call with Chris didn't bring healing. But it helped close something in me. A few more months passed. I started writing in a journal. Talking more in therapy. I began dating again. Slowly. Nothing serious, just learning to exist with someone without comparing them to Michael. But he stayed in my mind. Not out of romantic hope, but because when someone loves you wholly and you destroy that, it leaves a scar. One morning, I walked past a bookstore we used to go to. I froze. Because in the window, I saw a book Michael once said he wanted to write. It had his name on the cover. I walked in shaking. Bought it. Read it in one night. It wasn't a novel. It was a personal essay collection. The last one was about me. It didn't name me, but I knew. He wrote about love, trust, betrayal, and the feeling of being hollowed out by someone you believed would protect your heart. He ended it with a sentence I'll never forget. Sometimes, closure doesn't come with a conversation. It comes with acceptance and the decision to keep walking. I cried harder than I had in months. Not because I wanted him back, but because I finally understood the weight of what I'd done. He didn't need to slam a door, or yell, or curse my name. He just walked away. And maybe that was the most powerful thing he could have done. That's the end of my story. If you've made it this far, thank you. Would you have forgiven me if you were Michael? Or walked away too? Do you think one mistake should define a person forever, or is redemption ever truly possible? Let me know your thoughts. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.